We are less than 1 month away from the November 4th election, and one of the most high-profile campaigns this season is for the United States Senate. And joining us to talk about her race against Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley is the Republican candidate, Dr. Monica Wehby. Doctor, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it. You know, as you've traveled around the state, by now I'm sure you've talked to thousands of people, you've been to hundreds of towns maybe.
Yeah.
What's the number one concern that you're hearing from Oregonians, and what is it that you think you can help do if you're elected?
I think the number one issue here in Oregon and pretty much all across the country are jobs and the economy. Now, those are the issues that everybody seems to care about. And, you know, after 6 years of Senator Merkley, you know, all of these things that have happened, we've gotten lower income for our middle class families, now down $3,000 from a year from the time that he took office. Our prices and expenses have gone up. Gas prices have doubled. Energy costs have gone up. And our world is much less safe now with all of these terrorist threats out there.
Sure. You mentioned Senator Merkley. I want to show you an ad that he's been running against you in the state. If we can just roll the video.
National Republicans want Monica Wehby in Washington, D.C. because Wehby can't name one part of their agenda she disagrees with.
Is there anything in the Republican agenda, whatever that may be, that you disagree with?
Oh, I always found it comical when I saw that, because where they pulled that quote from was a whole paragraph talking about how I'm going to make decisions based on what's best for Oregon, not based on political party. And they said, well, where do you differ? And I said, well, I take each issue one at a time. Because I think that that's what's important for us to do. We need to be able to represent the entire state, not just one segment, because, you know, Senator Merkley, for example, votes with his party 95 to 98% of the time, depending on the year. And that is not being representative of Oregon. I mean, we are very independent-minded people. We don't agree with anybody 95% of the time.
What would be one? Give me a specific of something that you do disagree with the National Party on.
Oh, I would say one would probably be marriage equality would be one area. I think that as I don't think government should be involved in our personal and private lives. I think that those are social and religious issues, and not something that the federal government should be involved with. And as Republicans, we're all about smaller government and less government intrusion in our lives. That's what this country was founded on. We were trying to get away from government overreach into our lives.
Let me show you another ad. This is another beef they have against you. Go ahead.
Because Wehby and the Koch brothers share an agenda that will cost us. An agenda that guts the Clean Air Act, that gives more tax breaks to millionaires, and rewards corporations that ship American jobs overseas.
Getting into the specifics, I mean, we're not going to talk about every issue, but there is some truth to that, isn't there? I mean, the Koch brothers and groups like that have supported your campaign. Do you have, I mean, obviously they see something in you that they like.
Well, it seems to be that Senator Merkley doesn't realize who he's running against in this race. He tries to tie me to anyone who endorses me. I mean, I'm my own candidate. I am not beholden to anyone. As you know, Bob, we have no control at all over what super PACs come in and out of our races. There's going to be plenty of outside money in on both sides of this race, and I'm interested in running my own race and my own message. And I want to represent all of Oregon, and I am not beholden to anyone.
Well, let's forget about the campaign for a second and talk about something that's on everybody's mind in the United States right now. It's the Middle East. And it seems as if ISIS is now adapting to our airstrikes, and almost every military expert that you hear or read about says that we are going to need some more troops on the ground. If you were in the Senate and the president asked to authorize combat brigades from the United States into Syria and Iraq, is that something that you could support?
I think what we have to do is know that there is a strategy. Right now, I do not see a strategy of how we're going to defeat ISIS. And before we even consider sending our men and women in harm's way, we need to know that there is a plan that's going to work. You know, we're in this mess because we do not have a coherent foreign policy. Obama is very reactionary to everything. We have no clear strategy. And what happens when you have a vacuum in power and a vacuum in leadership? That vacuum gets filled by someone who is much less benevolent than we are. And that's what we're seeing as all of this is unraveling. We lost 4,000 young men and women over there in Iraq, and those families were owed more than to let this all unravel this way because of a lack of foreign policy.
So just to clarify, is that a yes or is that a no, or is that, what is that?
I'd need to know what the strategy was, and I think it's key. You know, I think that what we have to do is listen to our military leaders, and I also think the president should be getting advice from Congress.
Okay. Dr. Monica Wehby, Republican candidate for Senate, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
Thank you.
We are. Thank you so much.